Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Boss Babe Business Show. I'm your host, Katan Paul, and the founder of BossBabeBlog.com. The Boss Babe Business Show is dedicated to uplifting entrepreneurs, making our community aware of all of the amazing businesses that we have in our backyard and all across the world. So today I'm going to be interviewing a wonderful member of our directory who happens to have 4 verified incredible businesses. And I'm also going to be networking with some people in the crowds. We're going to learn about you, learn about the entrepreneurs that we have on live with us, and just take time to connect with one another. You never know who you could find, and you never know who's looking for a solution. But before we get started with that, I do want to go ahead and shout out one of our show sponsors, She Cute Boutique. She Cute Boutique happens to be a credible and verified business listed in our directory, and you can head on over to their website, shecuteboutique.com. They service nationwide. They are Texas-based and have tons of stylish pieces. If you decide to spend $50 or more, you can use my coupon code KBOSS for a limited time only at shecuteboutique.com. And while we're talking about She Cute, I should also mention that my dress is actually from She Cute. This is one of my favorites. It's very nice. It's a staple piece. I've worn it to a lot of different occasions, and it's extremely comfortable. So thank you so much for sponsoring our show. We have quite a few more sponsors that we need to announce and give appreciation to this evening, but we'll go through them in between our segments tonight. So I would first like to just welcome everyone, give them an opportunity to share what state they're based out of. If you are a business owner, feel free to share your business information in the comments, your website, Facebook business page, YouTube business page. And if you are a shopper, feel free to share what state you're watching from or what kind of small businesses you love to shop with. And in the meantime, I'll go ahead and just start shouting out some of the people that I see in the comments. So we're going to start with Texas. Hey, we got another Texas business in the house. Welcome, Texas. So we said Texas in the house. Wawela Cancer Support. Thank you for joining us this evening. Feel free to drop your links in the comments. And if you want to introduce yourself, let everybody know, a little bit more about your story. Anyone who's watching, feel more than welcome to do so. So this evening on the Boss Babe Business Show, we're going to be interviewing our member, like I said earlier, but I also came because I wanted to discuss a really important topic that I feel like a lot of entrepreneurs might need to hear right now. So you can watch the replay and hit hashtag replay, or you can listen to it live. But this topic is about not waiting until the right time or the perfect time to start taking control and ownership of your life and your decisions and actually going for whatever it is that you truly enjoy or appreciate, whether that be a person, whether that be a lifestyle, whether that be a career choice, something that you want to do in business, whatever it is. There's often times in our lives where we want to pursue something, but we keep telling ourselves that we won't pursue it until the right time or we're not ready. And sometimes we even give ourselves reasons for why we're not credible enough to pursue that. And I was actually just having this conversation last night with one of my membership specialists, Tiffany. Shout out to Tiffany. And we were just talking about how a lot of times in entrepreneurship, people don't realize that one of their biggest downfalls that can be so detrimental to their business and their confidence is the fear of the unknown and the fear of not being perfect. So a lot of people pause and they stay stuck in that space because they keep coming up with ideas as to why they can't achieve or why they shouldn't try. And we also talked about how when it comes to being an entrepreneur, a problem solver, a business owner, a creator, a dreamer, you have to have, I would say, a different level of um, confidence in yourself enough to understand that you have to be the catalyst for your dreams. And what I mean by that is that we live in a world where it's very common for people to settle instead of going for what they want in life or who they want or how they want to do things. And so everyone's comfortable with that. It's uncomfortable to step outside of that zone and say, I'm not settling, I'm going to aspire for more. It's also uncomfortable to put yourself in a spotlight. And another sentiment that I was making was when you're in a crowd of people, whether it be at a networking event, whether it be, at a function, you don't always remember the crowd, but you remember the people who are bold enough to place themselves in front of the spotlight, unless maybe it's your event. So I say that to say that you have to have a level of courage to put yourself out there. And when I was having this conversation with Tiffany, she wasn't the only person that I talked about this with. Funny enough, I actually had that conversation 4 times in the same day. So I felt like I really needed to come on and just speak on a platform about it. Um, 2 of the times were in a consultation. 2 of the times were in a training. So when I first started out podcasting and filming, let's see. Oh, I like that. So Wawela said, I'm stepping out of that space of all things perfect topic. Yes, yes, we definitely have to because I mean, at the end of the day, nothing is going to be perfect. We're never going to have the perfect time. Um, but, I talked about this 4 times in one day, and this was yesterday. And I shared a story 2 of the times, but I feel like I want to share it publicly for anyone else that might be going through it or, struggling. Um, there was a time when I was sitting down and I was writing down all of the things that I needed to do for my business, my events, my podcast, my live shows, the blog, all of the things that I aspire to achieve for my members. And I started to look at the list and feel a bit overwhelmed and also feel as if all of these things I need. I remember the feeling, the emotion of like, man, I need these things, and I'm funding my business on my own. So there's a lot of stuff that I do have to fund myself at this time. Not always, right? But that's where I'm at. That's the reality of it. So in that moment, I had a moment of pause where I was feeling like, okay, well, maybe I'll just pause on these things and I just won't focus on the podcast as much, or I won't focus on the show as much. I'll wait until I have those tools to do that. And in the process of me saying that out loud, I had to remind myself how crazy that even sounds, because I will be damned if the reason why I don't go for something is simply because a lack of a tool, or a lack of, what people would call a necessity at that time. When in reality, I have everything that I need. I have the talent, I have the intelligence, I have the expertise, the experience. And I think that sometimes when we are entrepreneurs, we're always thinking forward. So we're thinking about what things will look like in the future, or what they quote unquote should look like, when in reality, we need to focus on what we already have, because that's what we need at this time. You have everything that you need as a dreamer, a creator, an entrepreneur, and you cannot allow things that you don't have, or things that other people have, to affect your productivity. And in that moment, I had like a quick epiphany and immediately got back to work, because if I have a phone, if I have the ability to go and get maybe not the mic that I wanted or the camera that I wanted, but I have the ability to use a camera, I can use the camera that's on my phone. I can use a mic that's on my phone. I can use what I have to get to where I want to be. And they say that your first 1,000 downloads in podcasting is hard for people to reach. And I personally believe that it's hard to reach because of the level of consistency you have to kind of push past that. Um, but once I snapped out of that little moment of discomfort, that little moment of discouragement that I was having, and snap back into reality, which is, you got two choices right now in this moment. First choice is to sit and wait for somebody else to take off with your dreams and your aspirations. And the second choice is to go for what it is that you're supposed to be going for, regardless of, where you're starting. And once I snapped out of that, um, I made my focus just showing up for myself, just following through with the behaviors that I have seen that have been proven to help with seeing those results. And once I did that, I was able to surpass my first 1,000 downloads on my podcast. I got past my first 6,000 downloads. So, I just want to share that message for anyone out there that is thinking about doing something, and you're sitting and waiting and saying, well, the right time isn't here yet, or the perfect time hasn't come yet. I want to challenge you to think about the reality that there are a lot of people out here in this world who thought they had all the time in the world, and realized in a very abrupt way that no day is promised, no moment is promised. So every second of your day, of your life, needs to be spent pursuing something that lights you up inside, that makes you happy, that makes you smile, being around people who appreciate you, who love you, who uplift you. That's what your time should be spent doing. Anything outside of that is a distraction, and it's pulling you away from your purpose. So sitting and ruminating over how you don't have the perfect set, or the perfect mic, or the perfect banner, or the perfect logo, or the perfect website, and letting that be the reason, or the excuse, or the obstacle as to why you don't promote your business, and why you don't step out of your comfort zone, that would be the reason why you would be unable to succeed. It wouldn't be because you don't have the fancy tools, or the fancy marketing team, or the fancy website. These things can all play a huge factor in increasing sales. That's not going to be the reason why you wouldn't succeed. It would be because you're allowing where you're at to distract you from where you're going and what you're going to be doing in the future. So that's the message that I wanted to share this evening. And we'll touch on it a little bit later, because I do want to interview this wonderful entrepreneur that we're going to be talking with this evening. But towards the end of the show, if I can remember, we're going to discuss mind share, which is a second part of this obstacle that entrepreneurs sometimes have, where they feel like they're not achieving enough, or they don't have enough to start, or, oh, I'll start promoting when I have a website. I'll start showing up on camera when I have a fancy camera. I'll start doing my talks when I have a professional mic. There's always something that's going to be there. And the reality is, that's life. There's always going to be an obstacle. There's always going to be something that you don't have. Just like there's always going to be a reason to move forward. And there's always going to be something that you do have. So that's the message. And with that message, excuse me. Thank you. I appreciate you. With that message, we're going to go ahead and transition into our interview this evening. So, we're interviewing an entrepreneur who is a verified and credible business owner listed in our directory. She's been with us for years. She's also been a part of my other brands as well. I've partnered with her. She has serviced multiple people in our directory. She just recently earned a new certification, and she also has 4 different industries. They're all different industries, each of her businesses. So let's go ahead and bring this wonderful professional on, and let's get into a great conversation. Hello.
Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Okay, Mike's. Look.
I pulled out my content mics. I was like, let me see if it works. Let me see if it works.
Okay, okay. I see you. I got mine, but it's black, so you can't really see that it's on the
Oh,
dress. I
mine
don't
is
know
black.
if you,
I
yeah,
just got on a different color dress.
yeah, it's camo right now, so But I have to
Okay.
remind myself not to cackle and yell in these people's ears and these wonderful people's ears because the mic is
Yeah,
so
you
strong.
kind of have to
How was
just.
it? Was it smooth? Was it smooth? Was I soft?
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
This
Okay,
was
okay,
this.
good.
I like
Good.
this. I like this.
I'm doing what
I
I
also
can.
have to remember I don't have to yell with the microphone.
Yeah. Mhm.
So
I'm
we're
tapping into my soft girl Sunday mode. This is what the weekend is going to be looking like. So I said, let
yeah.
me just bring the volume down a little bit because you guys can hear me well. I'll try not to cackle in y'all's ear tonight.
I
I'll
can't
do my
make no
best.
promises on that.
Can't make no promises, but I'll do my
I,
best.
I won't make no promises on that. I'm
And
sorry.
please, let's just go ahead and get a disclaimer. We need all minors out of the chat for this evening because we don't know where the conversation's going to go. So we don't want Auntie Katan looking crazy in front of the children, especially not right before my DFW youth workshop.
Yeah, we don't need that.
We
No.
don't need that. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. MJ, if you would, please introduce yourself for anyone that does not already know you.
Well, let me start with good evening. My name is Miriam Jackson. As mentioned earlier, I am a business owner in multiple different industries. Um, I'm a college English professor by day, food service worker by weekend, tired all the time, and I mean I am. And but when I'm not doing all of that, which is a lot for anybody on a standard day, I do enjoy my self care. I enjoy my rest, going out to nice restaurants. Solo dates is always a vibe for me.
Yeah.
Um, I always call that especially when I know I'm about to spend some money. I call it date the queen. And the reason I do that way, I can feel like I'm getting dressed up, I'm feeling all fancy, dolled up, going to sit in somebody's steakhouse, going to order me a steak and a drink, and I feel
Ooh, set
like
the mood. How many do me a
absolutely
steakhouse next?
yes. Look, I ain't been too well. Now I might have to go and actually do the date the queen. I got it. That's cool.
I did
Um,
crawfish last time. You already know I did crawfish. Yeah. Yeah, you already know. I tore that
you,
up. And they were looking
you
at me
and your
like I was a
crawfish.
whole different animal in that restaurant. Poor babies.
Yes, you and your crawfish.
They were
You.
concerned from across the table. It was a woman
I
looking at
I
me,
can
but not
I
looking at
can
me.
I can definitely understand them being concerned. But besides all of that, outside of that, I enjoy the company that I do have around me because I'm not really big on having a lot of people. I'm a quality over quantity type of girl when it comes to my friends and the people that actually are in my space. Because to be in my space, it requires you, and I'm just going to say it requires you not to get on my nerves. It requires you not to get on my nerves. It requires you to come in, sit down, act like you have some sense, and we'll be all right.
We need a little bit of background behind this. I don't want to spoil too much, but I do want to give a little insight. So, MJ is in a profession where she is constantly overseeing other people that are sometimes in an older age, but sometimes in a younger age, and the maturity is still growing. Therefore, it makes perfect sense. I mean, it makes sense regardless, but it makes perfect sense that you being in that industry, when you step out of that space, you want to be in a space where you are not feeling like you're needing to oversee all the time or step into that role. I could
Yeah,
see that. Yeah, because you need a break. Everybody needs a pause from that.
everybody. And
Yeah.
that's one of the things that I have been working on diligently over the last, I would say the last 3 years,
Hmm.
is ensuring that I'm taking my breaks.
Yeah.
Um, Before I started to actually really take care of myself, I was probably that person that you can count on a little too much.
Mm.
I'm still dependable. I'm still where I'm supposed to be doing what I'm supposed to be doing, but I'm doing that within working hours. And we're not taking anything home unless
Mm,
I absolutely choose to. It's not a requirement for me to take stuff home. It's not a requirement, excuse me, for me to work outside of working hours. So when I now leave the office for the weekend, I can leave the office for the weekend and not worry about, oh, well, is this student gonna? No.
yeah.
Now, there are times where I do choose to bring home work, but that is because I'm trying to make a deadline that I've set for myself, not an institution deadline. Because an institution deadline and my deadline are probably a week apart.
Mm. That was a very real statement for you to make about, you people could rely on me sometimes a little bit too much. That takes a lot of self-awareness to be able to
And
say that.
it was the truth. We've had conversations about this privately. And when
Yep.
I said that I was responding to messages at 9:30 at night, 10 o'clock at night, and the face that I got when I said that,
Mm.
it was reality that, you know, no, that's not cool.
Yeah.
Having too much access to somebody can be a bad thing.
Yes. Oh
So
my God,
I
yes.
when I was looking at you and you made that face, and we make faces at each other all the time. So I kind of
Mm-hmm.
know different faces mean different things. But when you made that face up, it was more like, homegirl, you're gonna work yourself out of here.
Yeah.
So you got to figure it out and figure it out quick. And I did. Um, and it's one of the things that I'm very happy to say that I did, because um, it's, how do I want to say this? The amount of time that you put in outside of working hours may not always be appreciated, because when you give an inch, they're willing to take a mile, and they're going to continue to take as long as you allow them to take. But when you stop them, it stops.
I
So,
love your word choice. When you stop them, it's the level of accountability that we have to take for setting those boundaries ourselves. It's
absolutely.
the reality that these things cannot occur unless we permit them to occur, and it's a hard and tough reality because in your mind, sometimes when you're going through these things, you're thinking, why would she text me at 3 a.m. in the morning and ask me this question? Why would he text me and call me at 5 a.m. in the morning? No, the answer, that's not the question we should be asking. The question we should be asking is, why am I picking up at 3 a.m. in the morning? Why am I
Right.
responding back at 5 a.m. in the morning? Why am I still going through my DMs searching, trying to find this communication? Why am I still doing this when I know that this does not align and it is not cohesive with a healthy work-life balance? And like you
Right.
said, we can choose to do things, but that is 100% our choice. That is not me going out of my way to just be overly accessible because I'm equating my accessibility to my value, because those two things do not, they're not correlated. So,
Right.
you saying that last part for me, I really appreciate and resonate with that. But then also when you talked about the face that I made, even having that conversation with you, um, I think that month I had multiple conversations where I sat down with my clients, and the conversations we were having were about work life balance and also creating boundaries. And I didn't realize how hard it really is to shut that off completely, because I had shut it off to an extent, but there were still things that I had turned on that I was starting to pay even more attention to, because I was like, wait a minute. Okay, yeah, I stopped doing this, but I'm still doing this in this area of my life, or I'm still continuing this conversation, or I still haven't created a clear way to communicate this to, this person. So once I really just shut it all off and I became very clear about boundaries, communication, efficiency, it was like, wow, this is actually really hard because we have gotten so used to technology making us feel like we need to be available to someone all the time. And
Mhm.
we have gotten acclimated to thinking that someone should be available to us all of the time. And that time apart where we take a break and breathe and we're just humans and we touch grass, we stop doing that. Everybody's on a phone. Yeah, touch grass is gonna be, I might just write a book called Touch Grass. And when I do, I'll be getting a shirt from your other business. But you know,
Congrats.
we just haven't we haven't been doing that enough. We haven't been stepping away from technology. So everybody's in this warped reality of what accessibility should look like in a good relationship. So yeah, when I had that conversation with you, I was thinking like, oh no, we got to stop this because I know how hard you work. I know you don't just have more than one business. I mean, you don't just have one business, but even one business itself, that's a huge responsibility. You had two businesses at the time. And on top of
Yeah.
those businesses, also working as an educator, which is not for the weak, because depending on, you know, your school system, what your requirements are, there's a lot of stuff behind that. And you're monitoring a lot of people. So for you to be doing all of that and then to still be trying to cater and be accessible to people when they want you to be accessible versus when you guys are mutually available to be intentional about the conversation, it breaks you down over time because it's like you're just spreading yourself thin. And I
Uh,
can only speak to it because I felt that. And I had to tell myself, what are you doing? So, you know, that look to you was really the look that I had to give myself too of like, why are we still doing this? Why I just had someone tell me that okay, she's a business owner and she told an individual, make sure that you call this number when you are ready to communicate for this. The individual didn't do that. The individual sent her a DM. I don't know why, but she did. And her first instinct was, well, let me just go to DMs. And I said, no, that's not what we're doing. We're sticking to our systems. We are forwarding people to the correct channel. And it's not because we want to be mean, it's simply because you have a system, you have boundaries, you have a work life balance. You are not going to be working at 2 a.m. in the morning, texting people about business inquiries and stuff like that. You're going to be resting and taking care of yourself because
mhm.
it's not, nothing is more important than your mental health, your life, and your ability to take a break and detach from this technology.
Right.
So, yeah, I really resonated with that part. Um,
It's crazy, but I do want to just go back just a little bit for anybody who might catch this on the replay. We're not telling you that you can't be a workaholic. We're just telling you should not be a workaholic. Let's let's make sure that we're being clear in what we're saying because I do not want anybody to confuse the words that are coming out of my mouth.
mm,
I teach college
practice
English.
discernment.
I teach college English. I do know words. I'm not telling you that you cannot be a workaholic. I am not telling you that. I am telling you, and I am simply giving you experience on why you should not be a workaholic. If you choose to be a workaholic, you want to work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, that is completely your decision. And I want to emphasize that because I don't want somebody to come back to this replay and say, well, she said that I need to cut off this, that. I didn't say anything. I said that's not what I'm going to do.
What were some of the ways that um, you felt, some of the ways that you felt negative results coming from being a workaholic? What are some of the things that made you feel like you have to change the way you communicate?
One of the negative effects of being a workaholic is I'm always tired.
Mm,
And there's a difference in the tired that you have. Um, there's a tired from the workday that naturally comes, the getting up early in the morning to be at work at a certain time, the amount of time that you're sitting in the classroom, sitting in traffic, XYZ ABC. But that workaholic tired is just like, I gotta go, 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 I gotta go. And then your brain is not able to focus on one thing because it's out in the universe a little
mm,
bit of everywhere.
yeah.
That's a different tired. The workaholic tired is more mental than physical. that's a huge effect of being a workaholic. Another effect of being a workaholic is weight gain.
Mm.
Contrary to popular belief, if you're a workaholic, what you're not doing, you're not taking care of yourself via your food, which will make you go and do what? Fast food.
Yep. Very true. So then the question that I have for you now is what, I mean, you shared one of them, which was taking yourself out, going out on dates and stuff. But what are some of the other ways that you have been combating that workaholic tendency and kind of working against, going back into those old behaviors and patterns?
Do not disturb.
Mhm.
Do not disturb.
Okay.
Do not. We're laughing and chuckling right now, but do not disturb has become big in my household. It goes on. It does not come off until the next morning. Some days, actually, as a matter of fact, she's on do not disturb now.
Hmm.
It's 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. There are days that I'm now in the classroom at 11 o'clock. My phone will stay on do not disturb from 11 o'clock to 8 o'clock the next day. Do not disturb has become a blessing in my house. Another blessing that has come a thing in my house is separating. Separating.
What do you mean by that?
Separating.
Oh, okay, we know what you mean. Oh, I'm so sorry, y'all. I didn't mean to laugh in y'all's ears like that.
Separating.
Gotta laugh away from the mic.
Personal phone.
Lord.
And because my phone case looks the exact same, I have to be mindful of which phone I'm picking up. Personal
Yeah.
phone, business line. If you're not contacting me about business on my business line,
You remember that scene off of the 5 Heartbeats?
I'm trying not to catch when you folks
Hours
leave tonight.
are from 9 to 5. Oh Lord.
Absolutely.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely.
And you know what?
Separation.
Separation. Back to it. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
It's an amazing thing because you are more able to keep things organized. You can have your business checklist in your business phone. You can have your personal checklist in your personal phone.
Hmm.
If in the event that you need to share those for whatever reason, you can, but you still have the separation. Okay?
Yep.
Another thing for me to combat being a workaholic is actually going to lay down and take a nap, go to sleep. So for me, it is absolutely a requirement for me to go and lay down. And sometimes I don't always lay down at the same time every evening, but going to lay down and get my rest. And another thing that I think I have worked in my combat to workaholism is going to the gym. I had to find something time. Had to find something to do with the time. Had to find something to do to assist in taking care of me. And for me, for the last 2 years, it's been going to the gym.
Yeah.
Because going to the gym has allowed me to release any anger that I might have, any frustration that I have, in a healthy way.
Yeah. And I see it in your face too. Like
Thank you.
as you, yeah, we've been working together for a long time, and so I just remember one time I looked at you and I was like, you can lose some weight. I was like, okay. But I had
Yes.
already seen your gym videos, so I knew you were going consistently.
We've made we try to, and because there's some weeks, and again, for somebody who's watching this on a replay, it's not going to be perfect every day. You're going to have days where you don't where you don't make the goal that you have set to get into bed at a certain time, to have X amount of hours of sleep, to have X amount of cups of water per day, to move around X amount of times per day. It's not going to happen every day. But for me in the gym, I will say this. I have made it my mission to be in the gym at least 3 days a week. At least. I say at least three because I say this: three is the minimum, five can be the maximum. I like to stay within four. I tend to like to go during the work week. So for me, it's Monday through Thursday. Friday is my rest day because I have to get up and go to my part time job. But if I don't make that fourth day, if I make 3 days, I'm good
Hmm.
because I've been able to move my body, been able to do what I need to do, and I'm not as angry anymore now that I'm in the gym consistently. It really changes your mood.
Yeah.
So if you're looking for an alternative to um how do I want to say this? If you're looking for an alternative to, always being angry all the time, go to the gym. Start at the gym. You don't have to do anything crazy. You don't have to go and sign up for a class. Hop on the treadmill.
Yep.
Hop on the elliptical. And if you're one of those who don't want to pay for a membership at the moment, find you a friend where they can invite a guest.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, because my gym does that. And you can even go outside and walk, depending on where you live now, because I don't want you going through what I went through with that weird looking animal. But,
Yes,
you
always
can
be
find a, you
right.
said
Always
what?
be safe in what you're doing. But
Exactly.
if you can, go find you a gym. If you're not ready to make the commitment of a contract to a gym membership, find a friend who's willing to let you go. Or most gyms have some sort of guest pass.
Hmm.
Just get started. And this kind
That
of
is
ties
the
back
quote of
into
the day.
just
Just
get
get
started.
started.
It
Yeah.
kind of ties back into the it's never going to be the right time. Um, because when it comes to your health, let me say this, and I'm going to say this as real as I can. I apologize in advance. But
It's the giggle.
if you don't start taking care of yourself now, there will never be a right time because you may not have a next time.
Yeah.
Do with that as you will.
Well said. So now that you've shared, we talked about a couple of different sentiments when it comes to self care, prioritization, things like that. Let's move into your products and your services. So let's talk about your business. What services are you going to be presenting tonight?
So this evening we're going to start with the eldest of the business brands. As stated before, I have 4 businesses, and this evening we're going to be talking about Travel with MJ. Now, I love Travel with MJ, y'all. Travel with MJ that's my baby. That
Let me see if
is
I can pull up her website for y'all.
that's like
Go
the
ahead.
oldest child syndrome there. That's Travel with MJ. Oldest child syndrome. Oh, so for those of you who are new, Travel with MJ is a 5-year-old independent travel agency where we specialize in cruises, but we are full service. We are able to service your flights, your theme park tickets, cruises, all inclusive, domestic trips. We are able to service it. Though we have focused a lot on cruising, we are able to assist. Um, One of the services I want to speak to is the email list.
That's a good one. Very popular one.
I'm going to always start with the email list. The reason why I'm going to start with the email list is because that's where you get to see more than what you may see on social media. That's where you'll be able to see, um, and I give a lot in my email list. If you are a Travel with MJ email list subscriber, definitely let me know that you're enjoying what you're seeing. Because right now, my email list is in the middle of Travel with MJ's 10-day travel blitz.
Let's talk about that.
That is an exclusive perk to my email list where they get to see 10 different vacation packages from one of these devices that ring, ding, and sing. They don't have to move. They don't have to go anywhere. They don't have to go search Facebook and say, I'm looking for a credible travel agent, because they already got it here. And I do the 10-day travel blitz because I sometimes get wrapped up in doing a lot of cruise packages that I want to be able to diversify what my people see. So you'll see vacation packages that are domestic trips, all inclusive, theme parks, hotel only. You will see that type of stuff in the 10-day travel blitz because it challenges me to make sure that I can still provide that information and that top quality service, even though I specialize in cruises. Now, you booking a cruise with Charlie and MJ, baby, you're gonna be right where you need to be.
Okay. So, what other products or services that you want to showcase or recommend? Do you have anything that you recommend, like the top seller?
Oh, top seller right now, and this will kind of go into the next service, which will be our personalized research experiences.
Okay.
Personalized research experiences is just that. You're able to tell me exactly what you're looking for. You come and say, MJ, I'm looking for a vacation. I don't want to spend no more than $5,000. It's going to be 2 adults. We want to go to, let me think of a feasible place for $5,000 for 2 people. We want to go to Jamaica. That's feasible. That can be done with $5,000. And the reason why I said, let me think of a feasible place to go with that type of budget is because if you do sit down in a complimentary consultation with me and say, I don't want to spend no more than $2,000 and I want to go to Turks and Caicos, I'm going to tell you that's not going to work.
As you should. As you
So
should.
the personalized research experience is where you are able to give me everything that you want. I'm able to go and look for the research. Again, you do nothing. I do the research. I come back with the information. You make a decision. You secure payment or secure the trip with a deposit or full payment, depending on how close you are from travel. And we take care of all of that. The customer service, if something was to go wrong and you needed to cancel, reschedule, vacation protection, all of that. So while the conversation can be great about, your personalized research experience, we can have some tough conversations as well. Hey, I know you said that you want to cancel your trip. However, you declined vacation protection. So you're going to lose out on X, Y, and Z amount of dollars. I've had to have that conversation before.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not afraid to. So ultimately, we will always make sure in each personalized research experience, unless it is one of those where we can like freely book, so like a hotel only, and we're going direct through the hotel, they're a little bit more flexible with cancellation versus going through a travel supplier. So it just depends on what kind of freedom and flexibility you're looking for. So, just like, let me just throw this out there. Automatically, if you are booking a trip with a flight and we go through a travel supplier, your flight equals your deposit. So if your flight costs $780 per person, that's your deposit.
Happy Thursday, Leslie. Thanks for joining.
Like that is your deposit. There's nothing that we can do about that. There are some programs out there where we might be able to, reduce deposit, but they are restrictive.
Mm-hmm.
And 9 times out of 10, if you go with a reduced deposit plan, you have to pay off your flights before you can do anything. Okay? A lot of times I don't offer the reduced deposit because of the fact that if you make this reduced deposit and then you need to turn around and cancel, well, you can't because you haven't paid off the full flight.
Okay. Okay. What would you say are like maybe 2 to 3 benefits, or yeah, 2 to 3 benefits of booking with you? Obviously, everyone's able to book with different travel agencies and travel advisors, but what would you say people should know about working with travel with MJ.net?
Working with travelmj.net, number one is going to be transparency. I'm not going to sell you a dream if I know I can't give you that dream. When people are booking vacations, they are making major investments. Some in the form of hundreds of dollars, some in the form of thousands of dollars. And the transparency of that is to ensure that you get the best quality for the best price. But if you're asking for something that cannot be done, or it can be done, but it's not something that I would do, I would tell you.
That's a real good response, because that transparency is everything. And
Yes.
I can't tell you how many times I've had this conversation with an entrepreneur or a shopper where they didn't feel like they felt like a whole dream was sold to them, but then they didn't actually receive what they were told they were going to receive. So it was different. I even experienced that myself when I went to go get some food at it was like a food festival. Great time. But there was one vendor that I went to, and they had like an AI generated photo of the food, and then when I got the food, I was like, what is this? This don't look like that.
Right.
And I can only imagine how a person must feel going on a vacation if they were to book through a hotel, or whether it's an agency advisor, and then they get there and it doesn't look like those photos, or the experience doesn't look like what the experience was sold to be. Oh
Right.
goodness. Yeah,
Right.
no.
I did case like story time. I did have one time where a person asked me to look at something. It was with I was able to find something within their budget. However,
Mhm.
it wasn't a hotel that I was step feeding. So for me, it's important for me to say, hey, this can be done. I don't think you'll be happy with that experience. So I'd rather not do that than you put your money into this and then you come back and then you're unhappy with your vacation, because
Yep.
rightfully so, you would be upset. I would be upset too. But if we can eliminate that and say, hey, you might want to consider another destination or another time, or add money to your budget where we can find you a hotel that is suitable to what you are asking for without decreasing the quality of my services, and we can be happy. Another reason I think um, working with Travel with MJ is a benefit. Um, I'm not in it for the money. Let me explain. Let me explain. I am a business owner, yes, but I'm not going to take your money just because you're throwing it at me.
Hmm.
It's got to
That's
be something. It's got to be something that not only you're going to be happy with as a client, but I'm going to be comfortable in sending you in as your advisor. Okay. I have to be comfortable and confident in where I am sending a person, which means I look at reviews, I look at, um, videos. I do look at and pay attention to some of the TikTok videos that people are saying about X, Y, and Z. Um, we do that so that way when we present these options to you, you know that they have been thoroughly reviewed, vetted, and something that we can both be happy with. So I would say that's another benefit to working with Travel with MJ. If there was one more benefit that I would say to Leslie's a part of the email list, so she gets the travel tips and
You said right, because she was happy when I said I'm looking in advance, because I know those prices increase closer you get to the dates when you're trying to go on vacation, which is true. Yep, it's true. And she's talked about that before, getting your vacation planned early so you don't have to pay that same rate.
hmm um Now that just threw me off on what my third
I'm
benefit was.
sorry. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. It's gonna come back to me. Um,
It's the holding of the face with the. Oh my
man,
God. Sorry. I hope I'm not blowing people's eardrums away. I gotta stop. I gotta work on this because I'm
oh
supposed to be
man,
interviewing people this weekend, and I can't be so close to this mic. I have to move the mic
I
further down from my
yeah.
phone. But
What
if you
was?
can't remember it, we can always go to what your message of the night is if you want to, and then come back if you like.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's see if it
Okay.
goes. I can't remember for the life of me right now.
She said,
Hold on. I'm thinking.
like your hand has some kind of magical recuperation power.
Yeah, oh man, I cannot. Message of the night. The message of the evening is going to be to take care of yourself. There's only one of you. Take care of yourself. If you're not taking care of yourself, and however you feel that taking care of yourself makes you happy, you can listen to us say, oh, we go to the gym, or we work out, or we like to eat. That's because we can afford that. If you cannot afford that, find what works for you. Because one thing I never want to hear a person come back to say is, oh well, I heard you say this and I felt like I had to do it, but exactly like your way. No, you don't have to do it my way. My way and your way might be different. Case in point, you might have kids at home. You might have to do things that are a little bit more cost effective for your household. I'm not in your household, so I don't know how your wallet looks. I know how mine look, but I don't know how yours look. So, however taking care of yourself looks like to you. For some, it's going out to a nice, expensive steakhouse. For others, like a parent, it's a half hour sitting in a bathtub with bubble bath and a candle
And silence.
and silence. Or for another version of a parent, it's sending the kids to grandma's house while you get to enjoy whatever you want to enjoy. Whatever that looks like for you, that's how you take care of yourself. Don't listen to everybody up on the Facebook. Everybody up on the Facebook ain't always honest.
Yeah. And social media in general, it does sometimes get in people's head of their way of thinking, that relaxation, self-care, happiness has to look a certain kind of way when, like you said, in reality, everybody's going to be different. So for one person, it might be going out. For the next person, it might be staying in and reading books. For me, it's peace. It's no drama. It's happiness. It's silence sometimes. It just depends on who you are. And you should do what aligns with you because that's what makes us happy at the end of the day. It's called self-care for a reason. So doing things for other people or for the sake of other people, that's not self-care.
Right. I did just figure out what my third benefit was.
Okay. So here we're going back to the third benefit of why you may want to book with travelwithmj.net. Give it to us.
Access. You have access to me. You as a book travel with MJ client, whether you're booking through a research experience, you're booking through the 10-day travel blitz, you're booking through, and I forgot to talk about this, MJ's travel community, you have access to me. You get my phone number if something was to go wrong. However, with that access, I'm also not bothering you every 5 minutes. Some people are bothered every 5 minutes. Hey, is everything okay? Hey, how you doing? Hey, this, hey, that. Hey, did you forget to look at the quote that I sent you? Hey, are you still thinking about booking? Hey. I'd cut you off just for the excessive communicate. No, it's not necessary. It's okay to send a reminder, maybe a text, maybe a phone call, depending on how that client works. It's not okay to hound them like they're paying a bill. It's not okay.
Tiring.
It's not okay. I don't have the energy to do it. And now that I've said that, I have a fourth benefit as to why you should book with Travel with MJ, especially if you're booking early. Okay. And it kind of ties into number 3, which is the access. I'm not emailing you every week to say, hey, are you making a payment? Hey, we need a payment this week. Hey, we need a payment this week. I'm not doing that. We place a deposit. And depending on how long you have from the time that you book to the time that that your final payment is due, you may hear from me maybe twice. And I say maybe twice because if that's what you desire, that's what you get. If you are a person who wants to make weekly payments on your vacation, and you want that is perfect. We can do that. If you are a person who wants to place the deposit, especially if your trip is not until like next year, if you want to place the deposit, I'll send you a reminder email a week before your final payment deadline. And all that time in between there, I'm not harassing you for a payment. I'm not. I literally had a group of 16. We started booking July 2024. Their vacation was set to be paid in full by April 2025. And I asked, how are we making payments? Are we paying a deposit and then we're saving up for the rest of it? Or are we making weekly payments towards it? And a lot of my clients seem to like the place the deposit, leave me alone, come holler at me before final payment is due.
And can we also just give a quick moment of appreciation for the fact that you can book trips for groups, and even if someone in that group does not follow through with their amount of payments, the trip will still go on. Let's talk about that. So there's actually 2 things. I was going to ask you, for the audience, if you could describe the difference between, if you hadn't already, the difference between booking through a travel blitz versus booking a travel research fee. What would be the big difference, and which type of client would want which service?
Okay. So the person who is booking through the personalized research experience has a set budget that they want to stay within. The person who is booking through the personalized research experience is the person. It's really more about the budget and the research experience. With the personalized research experience, I'm catering that specifically to what you're asking me for, versus somebody who might be booking through the Blitz. You're just shopping. You're just walking in, or you're virtually walking in to your email inbox, and you're checking out the vacation packages that you have. You may not be decided on a date yet. You might not be decided on a trip yet. But if the price is right, I'm going to book.
Okay.
And I would also say that the person who was booking maybe through the Blitz or through vacation packages through MJ's travel community is not necessarily wanting to pay a personalized research experience, but they also understand that that sticker price that they see is subject to change until you make the booking.
Okay, got it. So also, similar to, oh, go ahead. What were we going to say?
I would also say that there's a little bit more of a stricter timeline with the personalized research experience. Because we're working on, hey, we quoted this on, let's see, today is April 30th. We quoted this on April 27th, and April 29th, we might be out of availability. Or we might be out of the, what's the word I'm looking for? The promotional deal. There are some promotions that I might be able to find. Those who are booking through the Blitz is like, hey, I know you sent this email on February 27th. It's now May 1st. Is this still available? And what is the new price if the price has changed? So it's really based on you.
Okay, that makes sense. So like for the people who are shopping the Blitz, these are similar to like the shoppers who love unique finds, you're liking to find the products as they are and buy them as they are. Versus the shopper that wants the products tailored specifically to them, that's where you're going to get that research experience.
Yes.
For anyone that's, still listening to the two. But let's go into this group trip thing because, listen, no, we got to talk about this. We got to talk about this.
Listen, I
has
think
been the
I think
topic of
host is triggered.
Because we had so many conversations about like, people going in groups or friends going in groups, friends paying in groups, friends eating dinner in groups, like all these different conversations. And sometimes it can make and break friendships. So you're planning a group trip. You have 5 people coming, and 3 out of the 5 people have paid their portions that they're supposed to pay, but 2 out of 5 have not. When you're booking with Travel with MJ, there is a way for you to set it up to where, regardless of if the other 2 people or 3 people pay, your trip, your room, your board is taken care of. You're leaving from that group chat vacation talk to the actual vacation, regardless.
Yes.
A wonderful thing.
It is a wonderful thing. The first thing that I would say to that, if somebody was coming to me with an odd number, my first suggestion would be to find a roommate. And the reason why I would tell a person to find a roommate is because, and some people may not know this, some people may know this, but travel pricing is always based on double occupancy. It's based on 2 people. When you book as a single person, you're inclined to pay more. A lot of people think that I'm booking individual room for myself, I'm paying less, right? No.
Okay.
You're not. Okay. So a room with 2 queen beds is expected to have 4 people in that room. It's expected. If you don't have 4 people in that room, you're still paying as if you have 4 people in that room. The price does not fluctuate that much. Okay. So that's why I would tell somebody to go find a roommate. Go find you somebody that you love and trust and know that that their money isn't plain, their change ain't strange. And find your roommate. Unless you are okay with paying solo rates. If you are okay with paying solo rates, great. We can always go and look and see if there's a hotel. I just looked, one of my vacation packages in the Blitz today is a single supplement, is a package for a solo traveler. But they're not paying the double occupancy fees. There are some hotels that will not charge, or they'll do a promotion on, solo travelers, because it's a thing. Okay. Now, once you have started to form this group chat, and this was kind of going into what we were talking about last night, once you have formed that group chat, it's important for you to link up with the right person, especially if you're going on a cruise. I cannot tell you how bad it is if you are in a room with a person that does not mesh. You might be a night owl. This person might be an early bird. This person might be the person who wants the balcony door or the balcony blinds open at sunrise.
You said that like you speaking from experience.
I am. I am.
Oh.
One of the biggest reasons why, MJ's top reason for making sure that you have your roommate that mesh, drink packages.
Okay.
Drink packages. If you are in a room, let's just say, now I have to ask this question. Interviewer, do you drink?
Oh, are you actually asking me?
Yes.
Water, yeah, and apple juice. Wow, what's up?
That's perfect. To my point. That is perfect to my point.
Ooh.
If Katan and I were to cruise together, we would not be compatible as roommates. Let me tell you why. She just said she drinks water. She drinks apple juice. And there's nothing wrong. I'm not shaming her. I promise you I'm not. There's a point to this. I promise. Okay. I so promise there's a point to this. She just said she drinks water. She drinks apple juice. And she drinks, different juices and all that. I partake in alcohol regularly. So in order for us to, mesh together as a roommate, and I want a drink package that includes alcohol, and she does not, you can't do that with a lot of major cruise lines. If one person gets it, the whole room has to have it.
I didn't know that.
Yes, that's why I said that's why I said I wasn't just picking on you. There was a whole point to this.
Oh no, and I was just clowning. You know I'm clowning, but
yeah, I know, but I didn't want anybody to come and see this. Like, well, she just didn't know. There was a whole point.
It makes sense though. It makes sense because deal wise, it's going to be a lot better for you to be with somebody that we're both wanting this drink package versus we get the drink package and then I'm not really, using that. It doesn't necessarily make sense, especially if you have someone that you could have paired with that is on the same exact frequency. Like if there's 4 people, 2 of them drink, 2 of them don't. It would make so much more sense to just have those 2 people together.
It makes sense because if a person, I'm not doing
sorry.
this.
Oh God.
Okay, Jesus.
Leslie, you got to tell me if my laughing is too loud in this mic. I keep forgetting this mic.
I can't with her. I cannot with her.
I might have to put this mic on my back for the interview on Sunday because I don't know how I'm going to get through this.
Yeah.
But she said, I'm turning the water into wine.
And the reason why this is going back now, because I got to refocus. The reason why we would not mesh as roommates in terms of the drink package is if Catan has a budget of, let's just use $1,000. $1,000, she's looking for that $1,000 to take care of her room, her gratuities, her port taxes, and that's it. She's not going to spend $1,000. She's going to spend more than $1,000 because the drink package anywhere, depending on the cruise line and depending on how long you're out in sea and in the water, can run you a good $400 or $500. So instead of saying, "Hey, Catan, your portion of the room is going to be $1,000," I would now have to go back and say, "Hey, Catan, your portion of the room is going to be $1,500 because I want a drink package and I know you don't drink."
And that's what I'll be like, "Hey, MJ, we need to rethink this whole." Because you're right though. Yeah,
and that is what I would want you to say.
And I can see where people would be having disagreements with stuff like that. Like when traveling, these are things that can just be easily resolved. We already know what we like, our preferences, which is why it's nice to just hire someone to do that for you. Because to be honest, as someone who plans events, when I'm getting ready to go on a vacation, I'm telling you right now, if I ever do a group trip with, whether it's for business, friends, family, I am not doing all that because I'm not doing all that work. I need to just go ahead and hire somebody to do it because dealing with all these different personalities and stuff and, what they like. I like to drink. I don't like to drink. I want window seat. I don't, just somebody else to do it.
This is the type of questions. This is kind of turned into a real life consultation here, but we'll go with it. These are the type of questions that you would need to ask, or these are the type of questions that your travel advisor, ding, 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 "Hey, how you doing?" would ask the group.
Yeah.
Because then we say, "Hey, well, this person drinks. This person drinks. I understand that you wanted to be in the room with your sister, but your sister don't drink. And you're going to cost your sister another $500. And she's not going to be very happy with having to pay an additional $500, especially if she's not going to reap the benefits of everything in that $500 package."
Or, you got Leslie cracking up over here. And thank you for your feedback, Leslie.
Or you can find a happy medium. Hey, I like the alcohol. You don't like the alcohol. There are some cruise lines that have a soda package. There are a lot of cruise lines that have a soda package. That way, the person who doesn't drink alcohol can still enjoy it, and the person who wants the alcohol would have to be okay with paying for their alcoholic beverages separately.
Yeah.
I say all of that to say this is a conversation that I had with my bestie. My bestie and I travel. I drink. She does not. So this exact thing that happened right here literally is something that I deal with. So it's not me picking on anybody. This is literally what I do. I say, "Okay, you don't drink alcohol. If it is feasible, like if it makes sense, like if the drinking package is included already with the price of the cruise, yes, get the drink package. But if we're paying a separate charge for this alcohol that you're not going to drink, how is that fair to her? Spoiler,
Good question. Good questions.
it's not fair to her.
Even as you're talking about it, I'm thinking about for professionals who are doing retreats, how, working with a travel advisor, someone who plans that stuff as a group can be very beneficial because for me, as you know, I work with a lot of different personalities, a lot of different people. And so we're potentially planning on having a lot of these people in one room, having someone that understands the needs of each person, who drinks, who doesn't drink, how they want to travel. This is stuff that can really, it can be a lot of work that you have to put into, like planning wise. So
Right.
I'm looking forward to when we do our meetups, because I'm not sure yet on the set month, but when we do our meetups, I'm looking forward to the experience of being able to hand that over to travel professionals to do that because it is a lot. And then planning your actual event too, hosting, planning, and the traveling and the preferences and stuff like that, that takes a huge chunk off of your shoulders.
Right.
And let's see, we got some comments. Leslie said, or the people that want to go on vacation to nice places and keep hollering, that's too high. That's too high. She said, it really ticks me off, but it's the first ones that want to. Yeah. I like my peace. And I do want to do like some group trips and stuff, which is what we're working on. But I also really enjoy and appreciate sometimes just traveling by myself, like just the silence, the peace, no complaining, no different, preferences and stuff. I'm cool because I'm very, I don't want to say low maintenance, but it's not a lot that I feel like I need when it comes to traveling experience. I just enjoy the art of taking a break. But you have some people where it's like every little thing, oh, that's not right. Oh, I can't do that.
Right. And going back to the whole example of what one person wants versus another person, and we're going to come out of cruises for a moment. Let's go into all-inclusives. One person might want an expensive flight, but a cheap hotel.
Mm-hmm.
One person might be okay with flying with a cheap airline, but want all the opulence of an expensive or more pricier hotel.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be able to discern which one is which. So one of the questions that I ask in my consultations for my personalized research experience is, how do you like to fly? You have I'm specific to this airline. This is my loyalty number to this airline. I don't want to fly anybody else. Or you have the person that says, I'm open. I'm willing to fly with any carrier. Then my follow-up question would be, are you okay with Spirit?
Spirit.
And I asked that question very much intentionally. Are you okay with Spirit? Why do I ask, are you okay with Spirit? Because you are paying for everything on Spirit. You pay to enter the flight. You pay for your bag. You pay to choose your seat. Spirit and Frontier is the two main ones that do that. Okay. Spirit and Frontier, and I'm using those two for example because I know this is what they do. Spirit and Frontier allows you your personal item. Your personal item could be your book bag. Your personal item could be your purse. Your personal item could be something small. The minute you put a carry-on up there, you are paying for that bag. You're paying for it. Versus somebody who might want to fly with Delta. You get your personal item, you get your carry-on, and you're paying for your first and subsequent check bags. See, there's a difference.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's why I asked folks, are you okay with flying with Spirit and Frontier? Because you might be able to fly, you might be willing to fly with anybody, but you're not willing to fly with Spirit and Frontier. Then we have to go look at other options. American, Delta, United, JetBlue, Southwest.
Just an example of the personalization that you're providing to tailor to their needs or their wants, at least for traveling.
Yes.
So we do have to go ahead and close our show down a little bit early this evening because we do have to prep for a couple of other events this weekend, everyone. But
Look,
I did, and I still
I'm
have
so
to.
sorry.
No. It was wonderful. And normally we go way past that, but I still wanted to make sure that I left with this last message about mindshare. But before I did, I wanted to thank you for coming on this evening, and also ask if you had one last message you want to leave with the audience.
One last message I want to leave with you all this evening is when you find you a group of like-minded people to get around, do not be intimidated by what they bring to you. Like-minded people tend to have more experience, more knowledge, more wisdom, which means that you might have to pay for some of that knowledge, wisdom, and expertise, as we talked about in previous videos. Don't be afraid to ask questions, especially for those who have been in business longer than you. Not a specific business, but business in general. Don't be afraid to ask questions while you are in the room with folks who have more knowledge, wisdom, and expertise than you. Because if you do, if you're afraid and you're unwilling to ask questions, you're unwilling to grow. Have a great night.
Beautiful. Thank you very much. And we appreciate you for joining. MJ, it was a pleasure having you on as always. And thank you for being a member of our directory.
Thank you. You have a great night.
Thank you. You too. Okay, so now that we had the wonderful MJ come on and share her services, she gave some really great messages about self-care, self-prioritization. I really feel like that last message was perfect. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid of the unknown. And understand that sometimes when you're looking for those people that are going to challenge you, they will have that level of experience. So I love that she's talking about you challenging yourself to take care of yourself, to educate yourself, to elevate yourself. All right, so I want to go ahead and give a shout out to Leslie Speaks, aka LeslieSpeaks.net. Thank you very much for joining, Leslie. I appreciate you. Shout out to MJ for that wonderful interview. Shout out to Wawela. Thank you for joining from Texas, the Wawela Cancer Support. We appreciate you. And anyone else that's watching, even if you didn't comment, we still appreciate you for joining. And I want to end this show on the topic of mind share. So, in the beginning of this episode, if you're watching, you can go back to the replay. But in the beginning of this episode, I talked about how we have to get out of that mindset of telling ourselves, I'm going to start when I have this. Because there's always something that's stopping us from starting whatever our dreams are in our life. Oh, I'll start the podcast as soon as I have a fancy mic. Oh, I'll start taking photos as soon as I have a professional camera. Oh, I'll start going live as soon as I know what to say. Oh, I'll start my business as soon as it's the perfect time. Now, don't get me wrong, planning and strategizing is important. It's a key part of success. However, another very key part of success is understanding when you need to execute versus just sitting and planning and talking and never doing. And so the first part of that is understanding that and not allowing yourself to shrink simply because you don't have what you think is required for you to be successful. Because in reality, you have everything that you could possibly need. If you have the will to get up and go work for it, if you have the ability to get up and go pursue your dreams, then you have everything that you need. Because there are people who don't have that ability to get up and pursue their dreams. And even some of them that do have the ability or don't have the physical ability still get up and go pursue their dreams. So I say all of this to say that the second part of this that is the most powerful that I feel entrepreneurs should remember is, and actually not just entrepreneurs, creatives too, your mind share plays a huge part in your success. And I said this in one of my podcasts. You have to be able to control your mind share, which is how much stuff you're letting sit in your head and what messages you're allowing to sit in your head, what content you're allowing to be exposed to or you're allowing yourself to be exposed to. You have to control that because your mind share is a part of controlling your perception, and your perception controls your reality. What do I mean by that? Well, two entrepreneurs might walk into a room and that room is super busy and there's a whole bunch of people in that room. One entrepreneur says, it's way too busy in here. It's way too loud. I can't even have a good connection. That's what one entrepreneur says. The other entrepreneur says, there's so many people in here. There's so many opportunities for me to connect with somebody. Let me get my card out and start handing it out across the room and just chatting with everybody. Those are two different perceptions. The one that has the more productive perception is the one that's looking at how they can make this a fruitful opportunity for themselves versus the one that is focused on the things that they cannot control. You cannot control how large the group is. You cannot control the fact that it's loud. Get to work. And so when you start to focus on controlling your perception and letting go of worrying about things that you cannot control, then you realize how important it is that your mind share is full of stuff that is going to help you. So these brands, these products, these consumers, these what's the word, influencers, these social media platforms, these videos, these podcasts, these TV shows, it's okay to have a break and want to laugh and watch something that's just like a little brain numbing, every now and then, because I have my guilty pleasures, but all the time, no. You have to be around people, places, and things that are about uplifting you and keeping you productive. So every day, you should be listening to at least one audio, one show that is positive and uplifting. Sometimes I'll find myself wanting to watch a little TV show, maybe while I'm in the shower. I'll put on my phone or something and let it play. But what I had been doing recently is I changed out the time that I would spend watching that TV show to put on episodes or audiobooks about how to be a better podcast host, or how to be a better leader, or how to be a stronger consultant, or how to be a stronger coach, or how to be a stronger mentor, or how to provide deeper tools and how to create deeper connections with your clients. These are all things that I spend my time doing. So yes, I have my days where I want to sit back, I want to laugh and just watch something funny or, just something entertaining. But you need to make it a goal to probably have about 80 to 90% of the content that's going in your brain being something that is helping you. 80 to 90% of the conversations that you are having being about something that is uplifting you. 80 to 90% or 100% of the people that you are surrounding yourself with being people who empower you and make you feel good. And let me change that around. I don't want to say make you feel good because we want to take accountability for our own emotions and our own choices. So no one can make you, right? But we want to make sure we get around people that encourage a productive environment and encourage the best version of you. Let's say that. Because at the end of the day, there's a lot of stuff that is our decision. Some stuff is not our decision, but there are a lot of things that are our decisions. So, who you spend your time with, what conversations you have, how long you have those conversations, these are all our decisions. And your decisions eventually start to show the patterns that show you why you have the results that you do. So if you're constantly finding yourself in a place where you're feeling low, you're feeling defeated, you're feeling tired, look around you. Somebody in your circle, if not more than one person, is probably a part of that. You got to change your environment. You got to get around people who encourage you to get accountable, not people who make you feel comfortable, not people who enable you, people who encourage you and inspire you to be accountable and take ownership of your own decisions. Because at the end of the day, relationships that are built off of enabling don't tend to help produce a great foundation because it crumbles when that relationship ends or when that person is no longer able to enable the behavior or the thought patterns or the negative self-talk that you have going on. So you have to get around people, places, and things that uplift you and inspire you. And even if you're in a space in your life where you're stuck around people or places or things, find a mental happy space and make it your habit that anytime you see yourself slipping into a negative conversation or a negative space, go ahead and pull yourself out of it gracefully and move into that safe space or that mental space where you're not worried about, you're not arguing. I think that that's extremely important. So hopefully any entrepreneurs that are going through a hard time right now heard the first part of this show, which was don't feel like you have to be perfect for you to be successful or for you to grow your business, because that is not the case. I didn't have a huge marketing team. I didn't have any marketing team actually. The marketing came from me and still does because I have a marketing brand. But I didn't have a huge advertising and marketing team. I didn't have, a whole team behind me funding everything that I was doing for my business. I had none of that. I didn't have any, super big connections that made me be able to be super popular. I didn't have any of that. Everything in my community and networks, I have built brick by brick, hand by hand. And so I could have been the person that said, well, I won't have any sales because I don't have fancy marketing or I don't have the fancy tools that these other entrepreneurs have. I could have been that person, but instead, I focus on the reality that I have tools, I have intelligence, and I have experience that could really bring solutions to other entrepreneurs' lives. I have a community that can bring positivity, growth, structure, confidence boosting to other entrepreneurs' lives. And so, for that reason, I'm not going to allow the fact that I don't have $1 million marketing team to stop me from promoting my business and showing up for my brand. And with that mindset, I was able to continuously show up for myself to the point where now I have people who've told me they've been watching me for months, days, weeks, years, and they finally decided to just go ahead and step on into bossbayblog.com so that I can help them grow their business the way that they know I can, and I can help them elevate their brand as well as their mindset. So the message is, don't allow what you're going through to make you think that you don't have enough to get to where you're trying to be. That's the first part of the message. And the second part of the message is, understand that you are on a mission that is so powerful, so intentional, so specific, and so catered to your passion and your calling that you cannot afford to waste any mental space on conversations, on places, or on people that do not help you, uplift you, hold you accountable, support you, promote your growth, promote your success. You have to pay attention to that, because if you can't get that part down, then you'll never get that other mindset part down of understanding that you have everything you need. It starts with what you're putting in your mind and what conversations you're having and what words are leaving your mouth. So I hope that this message was beneficial to someone. Again, shout out to travelwithmj.net. We appreciate you. Shout out to Leslie Speaks. Shout out to, let's see, shout out to Wawela. I appreciate you as well. Shout out to all of our viewers, supporters, subscribers. Appreciate and love every single one of you. I look forward to seeing you guys on Soft Girl Sunday, because I'm going to be interviewing live, and we'll also be shouting out our sponsors, sponsors of this show and sponsors of Soft Girl Sunday very, very soon. Thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you all again. Thanks for watching the Boss Babe Business Show.